Ladies and gentlemen, karma is defined as the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. Many of you believe in karma. Many of you don't believe in karma. But karma in chess exists in the way that I will be presenting to you today. I will now stop speaking in riddles. You see, I have a playlist on my YouTube channel that many of you enjoy. It's called How to Lose at Chess. An ironic title, where essentially I analyze games that you send in to me. I show you the most common mistakes. I laugh, I cry, I scream, I nearly vomit. But in today's video, I did all of those things myself in a game that I played. And today I am extremely embarrassed to show you the following game that I played a couple of days ago. That's it. That's the introduction. Now, before we get into the game today, I usually thank a sponsor here and then a thing plays. Today's video doesn't have a sponsor. It's actually an announcement of an upcoming event which will happen in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's the Chess Kid National Festival. So if you are kindergarten through 8th grade, or you are a parent, or you know somebody who's a parent, and you live around Charlotte, North Carolina, consider coming to the Chess Kid National Festival. It's a 3-day event. There's going to be tournaments, games, biggest in-person chess festival in a meaningful period of time. February 16th through 19th in 2024. I'm going to be there. There's a VIP package with a limited number of offerings. And I'll be there for all the days. So check it out. Link is in the description. And this is my game. Little bit of information about this game. This was a Title Tuesday game. My opponent is a teenager from India. Strong player. Anytime you get an opponent from India, you kind of brace yourself because you're like, oh boy, this person's quite strong. And my opponent and I in this game did something. I have to respond to a message. Did something completely ridiculous. Here we go. The game began with a Sicilian. I played e4, my opponent played c5. Every time we make a move, we get a bonus second of time. Many lines that you can play against the Sicilian defense, but I played knight c3. My opponent played knight c6. And as we can see, I have sidestepped playing d4. There are many lines in the Sicilian defense where white challenges for the center. In this particular setup with knight c3, e4, white can play f4. Some of you might think this is a Vienna. It's not. It's called a Grand Prix attack, but I did not choose to do that in this game and instead played bishop b5. I've been playing this quite a lot recently with a good amount of success. The idea is quite simply, if black develops like this, to take the knight, to put a pawn on a light square, and then, yes, play it in the style like that of a Vienna. If you play the Vienna, you know what I'm talking about, in the style of a Grand Prix. But if black drives their knight into the center of the board, trying to get your bishop, you actually don't touch your bishop. You develop another piece. And basically what you're trying to do is say, I'm developing while you're trying to get my bishop. And believe it or not, the best move is not to take the bishop. History here has shown that black likes to leave the knight and just like play waiting moves. E6, A6. You know, and sometimes even get out of the center and say, well, now your bishop is kind of stupid, right? Because you missed your chance to take me because I zipped out of the way. All of this to say that here my opponent played g6, which is actually an inaccuracy. It's already an inaccuracy. It's very subtle, but black wants to go here without moving these two pawns, and it's an inaccuracy because I can play this move. And the idea is to target f7 quickly, okay? And so he played bishop g7, and already I have a trap. The computer doesn't even realize on a low depth how strong this trap is. I take on d4, he takes on d4, and now rather than moving my knight, I show the justification of this idea, which is this move queen f3. I'm not threatening mate. I'm just straight up threatening like a scholar's mate. But the hard thing about this move for black is actually very difficult to defend against. You might say, no, it's not. What are you talking about? I see like 4 ways to defend against it. Well, the best way is knight h6. And then I would try to target the knight, and black equalizes after a very long set of moves. But my opponent fell into my opening trap, which is e6. This is a big trap. This move defends mate, but what it does is it opens up dark squared weaknesses. And I pounce with knight b5. And this is the value of learning openings at a master level, is your openings have very solid foundations, but they also have these trappy lines that your opponent can easily fall into. Now, at this point, many people prevent this move by playing the move d6, which only further falls into the trap because you have queen a3. Nobody sees queen a3 coming from a distance. Queen a3 simultaneously puts pressure on this pawn and also pins the pawn to the rook. So in the future, a move like a6 doesn't actually threaten the knight because you're pinning. And then you can like grab this pawn. They go here, discovered attack. You play bishop b5 check, etc., etc. Okay? That was the idea of knight to b5. Here my opponent played this move. And already I knew this looks really bad and I gotta be much better. And I was. And I found the best move, which is pawn to c3. Basically, my opponent's gonna act quickly. They want to kick my knight out. So I need to target my opponent's best asset, which is this really annoying center pawn. And I'm trying to just take with the knight. And if they take, I can bring my knight back to safety. I can also take and build a big center. And that was the point. I played c3, and already I have a 30-second time advantage, much better position from the opening. This should be a 20-move game for white. White should just win this game because they are more familiar with the opening. They caught their opponent where they weren't ready. Opponent made a series of bad moves, and now we're going to win. But if I did all of that, the video would not be called wow. So my opponent took my pawn. Okay? The first thought I had was take back, play d4. Reason I wouldn't do that is because they would go a6. And so I would need to move my knight. I can't play d4 because after take, I lose 2 pieces, they lose 1. That's really bad. So I didn't do that. So then I thought, well, I should bring the knight back. But if I bring the knight back, I don't have d4. I lose control of the center. I need a pawn there. So then I put it all together. Pawn takes c3. I won't take back. I will put the pawn on d4 now. See, the difference between putting the pawn on d4 and move later is they get the pawn there, but I will play d4 now. And when I saw this, which you see, it took me a few seconds, just 4 seconds, 5 seconds, because I get a bonus. I was like, oh, I'm winning. I'm already winning. And I am winning. I mean, I have a near +1 advantage. And the point is that the bishop has to choose which way it goes backwards. And both ways are terrible. If you go back this way, I play knight d6, king f8, e5, and you resign, because if you can't move the bishop, you just resign. You resign the game. I mean, you resign in a few moves. If you play bishop b8, then I will come back. You have a really idiotic setup. You have horrible Swiss cheese position, and I will continue my attack. So I thought, well, I'm winning, and I thought he's going to take, and I'm going to take back, and then he's still got to move the bishop. As you can see, it's a massive advantage for white. I'm down a pawn, but the bishop is getting hit around like a piñata. But then, unfortunately here, a devil appeared on my shoulder. And I started getting too creative. And when you don't know how to make toast, you don't know how to fry an egg on a pan, but you want to make a beautiful, beautiful souffle where you put alcohol on the pan and then it flames up, the house is going to burn down, okay? So in this position, I saw the following sequence of moves. Pawn takes bishop. Pawn takes rook, knight d6 check, queen f7 is mate. That's how you calculate in chess. The way you're supposed to calculate in chess is pawn takes bishop, pawn takes rook, knight d6 check, king moves, queen f7 is mate. Does that mean you play that? No. In chess, you must find ways to prove yourself wrong, not prove yourself right. So I tried to prove myself wrong. Pawn takes bishop. Pawn takes bishop check. Ooh, that stops my idea. I can't go here. But after pawn takes bishop check, here, I still threaten knight d6. I'm crushing. Queen a5 check does not scare me. I just move my king out of the way, and knight d6 is next. So I thought this is easy. This is very easy. d4, I thought I'd just take the bishop. I calculated this, but I forgot to look for checks. And so, I played this, and I lose. I lose in 10 moves. Completely lost. Why? Because it's not about pawn takes rook or pawn takes bishop. My opponent plays queen a5 check. Now I have a very brutal decision to make. I can move my king. I can undevelop, but then I don't threaten this. And then if I undevelop, I am just down a full queen. There's a new queen. That's really, really bad. So I can't do that. I also can't go here because then I'm down a queen and it's check. If bishop d2, my opponent queens, and then can do anything. I mean, they can sack the queen for the bishop, and then they can do this, and then I'm just busted. So I was like, oh my God, I have to move the king, but it's really bad. It's not that they're gonna take the bishop or the rook. The knight is threatening mate, right? It's threatening this massive attack. So he took my knight. And this is where I was like, oh my God. Why did I not just kiss? Something that I hope all of you get to experience one day. True love. But in chess, kiss is keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. No need. There was no need to be like, I'm gonna say this and this and bada bing, bada boom. No, now he finds this gorgeous tactic and I lose. Because he sacks his queen to win a rook and a queen back. He's gonna get the whole queen back, and he's gonna get a knight and a rook, and that's it. I could have resigned. But I couldn't. I didn't have the ego. I did not have the ego to resign this position. I am down 6 points of material. I have a little bit of activity. Like in chess, there are things that matter. Material, king safety, piece activity, pawn structure, right? You know, my king is not that safe, but that's why I wanted to tuck him over here. Material, I'm dead lost. Piece activity, you know, black's pieces kind of suck. And I would be willing to bet, actually, if you put like a 1400 to play with black, they would struggle to get out because you got a lot of weaknesses. You got to understand, like, this position is completely losable for if you're playing this with black. So I brought my rook because I have to use what I have, even at the cost of a pawn, with a check, because I needed to get my king away. The only chance you have of coming back in a game like this is if your king is safe. So I had to castle by hand. My opponent grabbed the pawn. They are now up 7 points of material. I didn't hang my bishop. I defended my bishop, gave another pawn away. The idea there was that if I give another pawn away, he will help me move my king to the corner. I am now down 8 points of material. I'm down 3 pawns and a rook. He went 97. So again, the reason I say this is a position that's quite losable is, for example, like let's say he goes a6, I attack his queen, he plays queen d4. All of a sudden, white can win a rook. Like, there's enough tactics in the position that you could accidentally blunder something with all these diagonals. My opponent didn't. He's a good player. Played 97. I thought, all right, I'm going to go to the diagonal. He's going to castle. The one and only way to make a comeback in a game where you're down 8 points is to checkmate. Like, no other sport has this. Harry Potter has this, like Quidditch. You could be up a lot of points. You catch the golden snitch. You win, right? Unless, well, you win, but you could be down like a bunch of points. I don't actually know how that works. Quidditch math. Somebody could tell me in the comments. I like when you guys educate me based on my nonsense that I babble. Like, I thought the golden snitch was like 500 points or whatever, 150 points, 200 points. I don't know. But if you're down a lot, does it even count? Anyway, in any sport, if you're down 8 goals, you got to score 8 goals. There's no, like, it's like in football, all right? Let's say, like, you know, Real Madrid's playing Bayern and they're up 3-1. The only way that Bayern is going to make a comeback in that game is if they score goal. You can't like punch the other team in the face. That doesn't. But in chess, you can, and you know you can try to go for mate. Now the only reason I didn't go for mate now is because my opponent hasn't been kicked in the head by a horse, so he would have saw that. So I tried to be subtle. I tried to sneak in, right? And the other thing you play for in games like this is time. Now the unfortunate thing for me is he gets a bonus second every move. Now he offers a queen trade. I say no. He goes here. I bring the bishop in. Now, if I could just teleport my queen there, I would win the game. No, now the only option I have is teleporting my queen to h8. So that doesn't work. I officially defend my king completely. And now the rest of the game for him should be spent getting his bishop out, clogging up the center, and he wins. He wins. It's not even close. I would even play like b5. Just give up a pawn with a tempo. Make me make a move. Sometimes in chess, by the way, you can lose material. You can trade a bishop for a rook, but what's going to happen at the end of this sequence is black is still up a knight and 2 pawns. So in chess, you can simplify. You could be up a rook and 3 pawns or a knight and 2. You're probably still going to win, and I have less pieces that way. I didn't like how he played this. He played very passively, and not only that, he didn't just play passively. Look at his time spent. He's down to 29 seconds. Now, that could be because he's playing me and he's terrified because he's going to end up in a YouTube video. And by the way, he's not wrong. He's in a YouTube video right now. We're both guilty of what you're about to see. We are both guilty of crimes against the chess gods. That is what you're about to witness. D6. Now, I realized what was happening with this move. He was trying to trap my bishop. Like, my original intention was bishop takes knight, and if he takes, it's literally mate in 1, right? Like, I just win. That's the only way I have a chance of winning, right? Or his internet could give out. He took like this, though, and that was my last chance. Because the truth is, if I tried to sneak in, he would go e5. And then I would try to sneak in to h6. And he would play literally any move. But once he gets rid of my bishop, like, even like this, once he kicks me out, it's over. It's hopeless. This is not going to work. So I'm still trying to be subtle. I play queen e3. Now, this wins. That's game over. Just so we're clear. It's game over. He's got a couple of defensive moves here. Couple. All right? But he finds the best one. Rook e8 doesn't work. I take. That's another way to get mated. But, you know, I'm still creating threats. Dark squares around the king. He finds a nice idea. There is a move here that looks smart, which is this nice idea, queen to e4. And the idea of queen to e4 is to trade, right? Like, that's, he wants to trade. I can't play queen h6 as a back rank mate. But what I could do here, I could actually slide out of the way. It's kind of a nice idea, a nice little nifty idea. I can play queen to d2, right? So here, he can't stop that now. Kind of hilarious. His queen is hanging. He can't stop this. So what he would have to do is have to sack the queen. So the best defense, he actually finds it, is attacking my bishop. And when I saw this, I wanted to resign. But I went here, because I'm stubborn as a donkey. And I was like, I'm not resigning. I'm going to move my bishop, and then I'm going to offer this, and then I'm going to go there. Never, well, there's no point resigning. I mean, I'm going to lose the game anyway, right? So you might as well. He plays a nice idea, plays h6. h6 is really smart, because now I can't take, because he takes my bishop. I have to guard my bishop, so I have to play this ugly move. Huge mistake here would be g5. Because then that hangs, and then he's mated, then he has to sack his queen, then he's going to lose. So a lot of ways to lose this position. A lot of you are taking this for granted. If you're still watching this, you're going, this is so easy. This is easy if you're like 2,000. If you're like 1,600, you still might find a way to lose this with black. He goes bishop d7, and now the idea is to trade the rook. And I played h3. I played h3 for a very important reason. No back rank mate. No back rank mate. It's not just black's king we're hunting. No back rank mate. Rook e8. No rook trade. Rook e6. I brought the bishop to the corner. I brought the bishop as far away as possible in this position because of the bishop meme. That meme that's been going around social media. It's like, you play checkmate? No. The bishop from V97 takes like a one-way ticket, right? And I thought, if I move my bishop really far away, he's going to forget that it's there. Which is extremely rude. That's very insulting. And here he played queen c2, and I brought my rook to safety. I'm completely lost. Queen d4 does not threaten to mate. He should play king h7, and he should forget about everything. But then he weakened his king a little bit, but then he defended it. And now I have 17 seconds and he has 10. And let me just preface what you're about to witness as probably the most absurd sequence of events between two players over 2,400 in history. What proceeded to unfold here was a crime. We should both be brought in front of a tribunal. Okay? I took his pawn. I'm hitting his bishop, I'm threatening this pawn, he could go back and defend himself, but he went rook f7, and I did what any person would, I grabbed another pawn, because why not, right? I'm playing without a rook, this pawn is useless, the bishop in the corner is completely blocked, I can give him a couple of checks, it's hopeless. He plays bishop c6. Bishop c6 is a good move. I have to give him a check, he plays rook e8, which is important, and now I take another pawn. I'm taking, I mean, he's giving me pawns, right? So I gotta take the pawns. I couldn't take the pawn a move ago because he probably would have played like there and gotten this and discovered attack. And again, I would have just none of that matters, right? Queen e4. So he threatens mate with 8 seconds on the clock. He's gaining a second every time he makes a move. I play the move f3. I stop mate. He gives me a check. I block. He defends his bishop, right? So what do? I give him a check. He runs away. I got no more checks. So I played this move, which is mysterious. And here I did something very deliberate. Because there's bonus time, I brought my clock really low. I actually did that deliberately because I thought it would make him more nervous. Because I'm ready to lose this game. Bro, I've been ready to lose this game. I've been ready to lose this game for 25 moves. I literally lost this game on move 11. So at this point, I'm playing on borrowed time. It's move 35. You know, I grab a pawn. I defend my king. I'm like, all right, queen b8. You know, maybe blunder something. The way that you win this with black is you get a rook to the back rank. That's all you got to do. Rook d7, rook d1. Rook b7, rook b1. I'm going to lose all my pieces. You just have to not blunder perpetual check. That's it. As black, you got to make sure you don't blunder a perpetual check, which would end the game. Now, he gives me a couple checks. I decide to move my king. I don't give him any more satisfaction. Now he finds rook b7. Position's horrible, you know? I go here just so my queen keeps an eye on all these pieces. He could get the rook in, but not exactly. So he plays rook b5, which I don't know what that does. So I give him another check, and I keep trying to hang around his king. Okay? He goes rook e5. Rook e5 actually blunders a rook, but I think he did that on purpose, or he was nervous. If I take the rook, I lose my sniper. So, but I got to take the rook, right? I mean, that's what I got to do. I gave him a check, and he now has to escape. What he should have done, obviously, is he should have blocked. He should have not let me do that. But there's actually a really nice way to blunder queen f6, which is kind of scary. That's kind of a scary thing. So he runs his king out to the side of the board, but there's nothing I can do. If I play g4, I do more harm than good because of this, and now I'm getting mated. So there's no point for me to play g4. It's actually not the world's stupidest idea, right? I play here, he takes, king comes forward, but there's no possible way for me to deal any form of damage. I am completely lost. So I threaten a checkmate. Except it's not even a checkmate. It's not even a checkmate. This is not a mate because he has this. In fact, his position is so good, he could just go here. And if I take, I got no checks. He just plays queen b2, and the king mates me with his bare hands. Rook g1, bro has rook e1. Like, it's over. I mean, his king is completely safe. Rook e1, if I take queen g2 is mate. If I don't take queen g2 is mate. Doesn't matter. So I played that. He went here. Same deal, right? Same deal. He's completely winning. Okay? So at this point, I got 5 seconds on the clock. I can't make a single move. I can't move any pieces, so I start mindlessly shuffling my queen around the board. And here some Gotham fan must have sent my opponent money. Because I don't get what happens next. The game is over. He could go here and save his king, and it's mate. He could probably sack the bishop too. He could probably play bishop takes f3 right now and still win the game. Not the best move, but it still works. He went here attacking my rook. I told him he couldn't have it. He went here, which I don't know what that does. I went here because I don't have any time, and I thought that I was threatening checkmate, which I'm not threatening. He could still go king g3, by the way. He plays queen g3. That move blunders a draw because I have this, which threatens this and this. If he goes back, I can actually play pawn to g3 check, and that's actually very dangerous for him. I don't do that, though, because I'm garbage. He grabs a pawn. He just really hated that pawn. It's off the board now. Now he's up a bishop and a pawn. We both have like 3 and 4 seconds. I give him a check. I lose the game. F4. I'm helping his king get defended. He's going to go rook e1. He's going to go g4. The position's hopeless. I play queen d2. It's now minus 12. It's worse than minus 12. There's a mate in there somewhere. I attack his bishop from the side, so he gives it away for free. He moves the bishop from one spot to another because he forgets that my queen can actually target both of those squares. The queen, on her own, has now officially captured enough material to save the day. All right, that queen went on a spiritual journey. I couldn't move any of my pieces, and it just bothered his king. That's all I did. It's kind of instructive. I just bothered his king. I bothered his king, defended my king, and then he hung his bishop. Now it's a draw. It's a draw because when we simplify to an endgame, it's 3 pawns versus 4 pawns. It's a draw. Okay? So in this position, he actually expedites that process. He plays rook e1. He shouldn't have done that. He probably should have played rook e5 or maybe rook e2, by the way. And so if I played a move like queen f5, he could have kept bothering me a little bit. But he decided just, he panicked a little bit and he just lost his bishop. He's like, I want to play rook e1. I knew he was going to play rook e1, and rook e1 actually is a kind of a draw by force. If I take, He can't mate me. It's not possible. Like, it looks like he can mate me, but I'll take, and then I'll take. He doesn't have enough time. Doesn't have enough time or pawns. So I was like, oh, I saved the draw. I'm so clever. And so in this position, I play this move, queen d2. Queen d2 protects the queen from invading the back rank. I thought he would leave, but he took. And now, he just plays g4. Plays g4, we trade all the pawns, we make a draw. There is one thing I should avoid with white. It's a queen trade too quickly. For example, if I take, maybe queen f2, but like, I shouldn't trade queens. Because after something like queen takes, and even f5, I mean, just mathematically speaking, you do not want to trade into a pawn endgame where you're down a pawn. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So, a queen endgame down a pawn is fine. A rook endgame down a pawn, probably fine. King and pawn endgame down a pawn, not fine. And so in this position, my opponent can play g4, and my opponent can play f5, and he's going to march all the pawns down, and he's going to win, and he's going to at least save the game, right? He's going to at least draw the game. But he goes here. What? What's the difference? The difference is, I know his next move now. I know this, but so what? I knew his next move here. What's the difference? The difference is, my opponent, despite having a king, a queen, and 4 pawns, put himself in a Zugzwang. A Zugzwang in chess is a situation where any move makes your situation worse. He has no legal king move. He has no queen move. Every queen move loses a queen. So his only move is g4. And that blunders the diagonal. That is why the pawn had to remain on f6. Because now his diagonal is open and any queen placement is mate. And so in this position, from being down 8 points of material and having checkmate on the board for about 10 moves in a row, I slid my queen over 1 square. And he could either lose his queen to me or lose his king. And I won this game from this position.